Hello, BADM 3020 classmates and Dr. Windsor. My name is Nick Smith, and this is my presentation on a coronavirus-related product or service. The service I have chosen to discuss throughout this project relates to one of the international industries most greatly put in flux by effects of the COVID-19 spread, which is the entertainment industry. Specifically, my service will be focused on entertainment of the film variety, and especially theaters, which, as we all know, are taking quite the beating right now. To begin, I will talk about the industry itself and how it's endangered by coronavirus, and how my service would simultaneously assist in the stimulation of the industry, as well as provide a fulfilling experience for people all over the country. To start off, the film industry has been threatened for a while, though not necessarily by coronavirus. Theaters all over, for some recent years, have been struggling to hold their own against the streaming giants such as Netflix, Hulu, and Amazon Prime, and what seems to be like multiple more every single day. The benefits of accessibility, simplicity of management, and a wide range of entertainment choices that streaming services contain have caused there to be a large crowd of people drawn more to staying in and utilizing a program rather than going to a movie theater and paying to see a movie. Despite this imposing risk placed on theaters by streaming, that doesn't mean that physical theaters haven't had their own share of big wins. In April of last year, box office numbers soared when Avengers Endgame was released, garnering nearly $3 billion, though not adjusted for inflation, in ticket sales during its theatrical run. While it's clear from the success of theatrical runs like this and others that theaters are holding their own against streaming services, the coronavirus crisis of recent months has surely thrown a wrench in the machine that changes the entertainment game. When the pandemic first started to spread around the world, theaters first only downsized their operations mildly. They would cap off the limits of individual theaters to 75 or 50% of their original size. While this was not a big effect on theaters, what followed in the weeks and months to come was ginormous. As per the orders of the United States government and the governors of every state, social businesses like restaurants, shopping malls, and of course, movie theaters were closed down completely for as long as it takes to create a safe environment. While other industries have found ways of surviving amidst the outbreak, like takeout delivery options for restaurants, theaters themselves have had trouble adjusting. While video on demand and streaming services have become even more popular, clearly due to their at-home capabilities, companies that own theaters have kind of been left out to dry. As no revenue can really come from a closed-down theater, companies like Cinemark and AMC have been vocal about the struggles they are enduring, and if what they say is to be correct, they could still be in financial trouble following the cessation of the virus. With such a high value being placed on streaming now, it can indeed be very difficult for theaters to bounce back after the virus. The main hope for revival stems from the heart of the theater experience, which is that people will always prefer the experience of watching a movie on the big screen, surrounded by a crowd of people. While the world will be weary to jump back into social settings following the end of quarantine, like that one, the recent success of drive-in theaters during this period of time shows that people still want the theater experience. Many drive-in theaters across the nation have reopened recently, with added safety precautions of course, and they experienced a resurgence of sales. While they are a bit outdated, their business model allows for as close to a theater experience as possible in 2020. That's where the service I have created comes in. A new, modified version of the old drive-in theater that will supply customers with a unique and safe movie-going experience. To begin, I believe this service could be targeted to a large audience, which is, frankly, every movie-going customer. However, I believe this particular service can be marketed towards families especially, as they are more likely to attend movie theaters together than others. And as a unit, they can be isolated from other moviegoers, which will factor in later when I describe the service. When marketed to such people, this service could be positioned as an entertainment alternative, that provides a theater experience without the worry of potentially risky social closeness. This service could be sponsored and put on by big-name theater companies like Cinemark and AMC, so that profit would go to them to keeping their businesses alive, and their only competition would most likely be each other. In essence, this service will be a revamped and reimagined drive-in theater. Instead of having typical rows of dirt, however, there'll be paved cement so that there is a cleaner aesthetic, and no cars can be parked there. Instead, theaters will provide separate tents or other such small living spaces for each group, cleaned and sanitized for safety. This will allow for a more comfortable movie watching experience and allow families and other groups to relax in a comfortable space outside of their car. These small living spaces could be fit with safety items and precautions like disinfectant, as well as small vending machines and serving stations that allow for non-contact concession ordering that can be paid for following the movie experience. Basically, this would all make for a cleaner, safer, and more luxurious drive-in experience that allows each group of viewers to stay socially distant from others while also having the joyful experience of seeing a movie. As well, these new additions could draw in some big crowds that might have been initially hesitant to attend drive-in theaters. This would allow for movies previously taken out of the theater schedule to premiere at these drive-ins, where they could turn into financial successes. Due to the cost of these upgrades, live drive-in theater tickets would cost more than an average drive-in theater, but they would still be comparatively cheap for the experience you would see. Each ticket would most likely be between $15 and $20 due to the upgrades, though I believe that's a pretty reasonable price, especially for safety. However, due to the large property requirements of drive-in theaters, these couldn't be placed just anywhere. Suburban and rural lots, along with pre-established drive-in theaters, would have to be utilized to create these experiences. However, if big theater companies could back such an enterprise, they could purchase proper spaces for the theaters. I believe this idea could be financially successful, especially considering everyone's urge to get back into theaters. Pitching them as clean, safe, and comfortable movie-going experiences would certainly attract customers, especially those concerned about social interaction in this time. Ultimately, I believe that a revamped and renewed drive-in movie theater experience is exactly what people and the theater industry needs right now. Giving access to new entertainment along with ensured safety precautions could really create a safe and sustainable movie watching experience that would carry us into the future.